RimWorld lore event, week 4, day 6. So today, of course, we ended up having a bounty hunter yesterday. We were able to go and finish out the entirety of that earlier, so we are completely done with that. As far as the team that we used, for any wondering, it was War Elephant, KrissTigger, Tagaraki, and Excavator, and we did that on yesterday's morning stream, and got it done in about 2 hours or so. Ended up going down pretty easily. And the final battle is nothing too annoying as far as what we have, which is nice. There's like a really annoying summoner one, but you can completely bypass it by, 20th room not having it, luckily. So that was pretty lucky there. As far as adventure board today, nothing really too good. We got a little bit of event keys, and by a little bit, I mean literally just one. But I guess it's better than nothing. And other than that, goal is get Warpriest EXP. As I mentioned, I want to have it maxed by the end of this weekend. And we're going to get some EXP tonight, finish out tomorrow, and boom, we'll have level 100 Warpriest. And we'll have almost every hero class in the game maxed. At that point, I will only have 3 left, of which I will have all 3 finished by the end of next weekend. The other 3 are Slayer. Where's Slayer? Slayer, Oracle, both at 80. And then the only other one left is Diabolist at 90. And then boom, we're good to go. And that is pretty much the game plan. And we unfortunately did not get a spoiler image. Actually, let me go double check again. I checked this afternoon, but I haven't checked within the last couple hours. But I'm pretty sure they didn't post anything yet. Let's see. Nope, no spoiler image for next patch yet. I was hoping we could say something about it, but unfortunately we still have 0 spoilers. But we'll get some soon. Soon, TM. As soon as I can say anything about next patch, we shall. But still none. Very unfortunate, but give it time. We'll get it eventually. Anyways, in other news, let's go start clearing through dailies. Go and quick kill all of these. We'll hand out a code probably to reach level 97, I think, on the hero class. And we'll go from there. Sounds like a game plan. Hope all of you been having a good weekend so far. Hello, Cookie. Hello, Lemmy. Hello, Gamora. Welcome, welcome. You lost a thing. What thing? What thing did you lose? What do we go for here? Take that for now. And of course, we still have the War Lore event going on too. That we also ended up finishing earlier this week. Oh, we got tribute too. Nice. Give me that tribute. But as far as the War Lore event, don't forget if you still want to go get more tokens so that they convert into seasons, you still have a little bit more time to do that, as well as just finishing out the event in general. So definitely make sure to get on that if you haven't already. Which reminds me, who do I need to kick from my guild? Because I don't think we have all the gold in yet for the tasks. We still need a bit more. I'll see if I'll donate a little bit more. Because right now I'm at right at the 1.5 million mark. I normally like to do at least 2 million, if not more. Let's see, what is the guild at for that? I know we didn't have all of them done earlier when I looked. How are we still behind? So let's see. Guilds. As far as numbers, most of these are decent. Oh no, Osman. Gosh, Osman's been pretty low almost every single time. He's been doing minimum. I don't think he went over a single time so far. But we still have 1 task left. Come on, we're so close, guild. So close. Alright, I'll do the last of it tomorrow if my guild doesn't get the rest by then. So very ridiculously close. We could theoretically do it right now. How much is that? Yeah, it's 1.5 million left. If 3 people did 100,000 more, we'd be good to go. 1 person still didn't even do their minimum, though. So if we count that, we only got 1 million left. And it'll be good to go. Anyways, let's go back to the adventure board there. Get the last few battles in. And mostly should go down in 1 shot. The only one that might not is the final battle of the one for the event key. Besides from that, they should all go down pretty good. Down it goes. And if anyone has any questions, anything you want me to go over, let me know. Because this is primarily going to be a farming stream for the most part. Since we don't have any side stuff to really do. But our goal of all max hero classes is very close. By this time next week, we should almost be done with it. I think we should only have 1 hero class left by this time next week. Who knows, maybe even done. Probably 1 hero class left. Because while we still do farm it a little bit every single day, I generally only like power farming when it's a Vault event. And of course, Vault events right around the corner next weekend. Not this weekend, but next week's weekend. And patch is still a good few weeks away. No official date on that or anything. We don't even have any previews of it yet. Wish we did. There's a few interesting things to say about it, which I'm not allowed to yet. But we will in time. Okay, that's out. Yeah, I don't really need more event keys. We kind of have enough at this point. We're still sitting on like a little over 7,000. And that's after recently getting a new troop the other week. So that's already with a reduced pile. We still somehow have 7,000. Feels like that pile never goes down. And I keep still using blue orbs in order to save more. I might stop doing that eventually. But the main reason I do that is in case event keys ever become viable for something else. As it currently stands, they don't really have much of another purpose other than, you know, kind of getting mythics or something like that. But, I don't know, you never know. They might end up getting some kind of a new thing in the drop table or something that would tweak it to actually want to go open thousands in a week other than just for a new mythic. Or who knows, maybe a new mythic would be so good to get multiple copies of off the event key drop table that it'd be enticing to do so. However, if we wanted to do that, it'd probably be more viable doing it through diamonds. Given that I have a surplus of diamonds. Off of CNI faction, do you have a suggestion for a level 500 pure faction? You run literally the exact same team as the final battle, and you attack steal a ton, and make sure you always cast your yellow, your 2 converts prior to the enemy getting the 2 converts. You have a brown to green, if I'm not mistaken, as well as a yellow to skull. You want to make sure you get both of these before the enemy does. Pretty much countering out right before they do, ideally, with an extra turn. Though, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. But you do need to make sure you get the cast off before they do so that they don't get good value. Unless the board is going to be sabotage, in which case let them have the cast. But if it's going to be like an extra turn kind of cast, you want to make sure you always have the mana up on those. So you can counter out the enemy so that they don't get the value out of casting their own. But you run quite literally the final battle of the faction. The exact same order, the exact same banner. You quite literally just mirror the battle. It's one of only a few factions where the most viable, or it's pretty much the only faction, where you 100% for the final faction just run quite literally the exact same thing as the enemy. It kind of seems a little bit weird. That wouldn't make any variance, but the way that it's set up is actually synergizes enough that you would go one of each in exact order that they have it in. And the main reason for that is to utilize the Ellcarjen Leech so you can get the attack steal. The other one for the mana counter, which you definitely need so that it counters out theirs. You need the summoner just to resummon, because anything with summon you definitely need. And it's the only thing that has the resummon. Plus it can sometimes HP buff outside of one-shot range. If you can do that, it's sometimes worth casting just for the HP gain. Though you shouldn't keep spamming it, only if it's going to bring you outside of kill range. And then you have the Skull Spammer, which you have to counter their Skull Spammer, plus it's really good damage. But the whole strategy is spam Ellcarjen Leech, get a bunch of attack, and then with that stolen attack that you get from the Ellcarjen Leech, you then synergize that with Skull Spam in order to win. And that's pretty much the entire strategy for the faction. Not one the easiest, not one the hardest either. The summon makes it quite a bit easier because you can normally get to final battle with all 4. Normally the exact 4 that you're starting with. The harder part is actually getting the 4th battle done. Or the 3rd battle, I mean. The final battle. It comes down mostly to luck on how Ellcarjen Leech's explosions go, as well as how well the alignments go for yourself. But enough luck, it aligns and kills decently well. And one ideal thing that you can do too is completely lower the enemy to 0 attack. This does take quite a bit of cast, depending on what your stats are at. But it is possible to almost 0 it out, or quite literally 0 it out. And then at that point you have more skull damage than they do. Also, depending on how your troops died, you sometimes even have 2 Ellcarjen Leeches going into the final battle. You shouldn't start your team that way. However, it's fine going into the final room like that if you truly had to. The only problem with that is if they get alignment, you pretty much lose. But as long as they miss alignment, you should be fine in that situation. You normally carry it so that you don't have to worry about them getting the alignment. Because if they do, they pretty much auto-win. But if they don't, you get 2 full Ellcarjens, which can then steal attack. It's not something I would risk, though. This just happens naturally. And definitely don't go into the final one with the 2 Ellcarjen that have the convert, because those are pretty bad compared to the one that steals attack. It's good to have 1. It's horrible to have 2 though. Oh, there's what's his name, the Sakurax. He's not a drop table anymore, by the way. Well, technically he is, but he's not the only Mythic in drop table now. He is technically in a drop table, so theoretically, if you open a bunch of keys, there is an ever so slight chance that you would get him. However, statistically, it's very unlikely, given that's 1 out of every legend or Mythic in the game, aside from the 2 that can't be obtained from keys. So the chance of finding him is very slim, but he is technically in drop table right now. But he's not the exclusive one anymore. Realistically, if you want to get him, the only real way is diamonds whenever he comes in Soulforge, and it's probably going to be a couple months before he comes into Soulforge, before we see him for the first time in Soulforge. He's one worth considering, though. Not highest priority, but definitely something, it makes for a great utility to have around. Hello, John! Welcome! Oh, there's a 20 gems for today. Yet another objective down. Next one is to get a bunch of levels on this thing, and we should be getting pretty close to 96. And as I mentioned, we'll hand out code at 97. You should be able to get that with pretty good pacing, because I'm pretty sure we're almost already on top of it. I actually go check it right now. Actually, we're a little bit further than I thought. I'll still make sure to go get it. Refresh that. Battles go pretty quick. That might seem like a lot of XP. Because, like, what do we need there? Like 36, 38 or something? However, that's only like 19 battles. And 19 battles go down super quick when a battle takes that long. 1 down. You have a good team for bounty. Only lost once with it. And it feels TW faster. What's the team? Could you mention what they are specifically? I know, what are the 4 troops? Oh, hello, Cookie! Welcome back. I'll take the other thing over. Grab our splits. Get another easy battle. It's exactly what we want to see every time, ideally. Oh gosh, that troop was so bad. It's one of those troops that they add on like a Monday, where it's like, come on, you could have done better. And that one was like, it was trying to almost be decent, but then wasn't. Like with the one that we got the week with the Mana Core this week, like that one's just awful. But that one like seemed like they were trying to make it like somewhat usable, but completely flopped in doing so, which makes it almost worse. Yeah, you can use Werewolf as your mana generator instead. I went for the Excavator route just to cover every color, but Werewolf is really good for mana accumulation. You can even use Werewolf with Excavator if you want to, but there's not normally enough room in most weeks. But yeah, you could work out that way. Werewolf does a bunch of red based on skulls destroyed, and you can also use it for board control, which also helps you place skulls and get skulls, which synergizes pretty well with War Elephant. Its ability would definitely be much better synergy with War Elephant. However, I would say on a normal week, the Excavator would be better. And even this week, it does help you cover in a whole additional color, which was the main reason why I ran it. I wasn't even running Excavator much as casting it wise, as you may have noticed. But having it so it covers the extra color was kind of nice. But generally speaking, Excavator is better than Werewolf. But if you're going to be using it with War Elephants, Werewolf is definitely worth considering, due to the board control that you get and the fact that it has boost ratio off a skull. But Excavator gives Storm, which is one of the main benefits of it. And it has a mana accumulation method that has a pretty consistent extra turn. And while you can do board control with the Wolf too, it kind of just depends on what you really need for the battle. But I could definitely see that combo having a really good purpose if we can get something that can end up synergizing for as another bounty troop. Like some kind of bounty troop, War Elephant, War Wolf, and then like KrissTigger or something. Maybe even completely getting rid of Tagraki for a skull spam route. Seems like it could end up working out very, very well. We just need one more really good bounty troop that could work for that. Ideally also using red, so that has synergy with the red mana accumulation. But I don't know, I didn't actually test it this week, so I'm not sure for sure how much different Werewolf would have been. It does have some color overlap, and you won't be using purple, but you could always adjust your banner accordingly. And a 3x3 explosion on itself is also pretty good, since you can use it for skull spam synergies. So you could deliberately not hit reds or skulls, and just cascade the skulls together a little bit easier. Or also just simply go for the skulls and get a bunch of red. Because realistically, on average with Werewolf, you should be averaging probably about 4 skulls, 3 to 4 skulls. And I think he gets like, what, a 15 or something red off of a 3 skull or something? I know it's pretty high. It's like a 3 times or 4 times boost ratio per red. I mean, per skull. My only concern with that is I wasn't really casting not Werewolf. I wasn't really casting War Elephant that much. Oh, it is 4 per skull. Yeah, it's pretty high. I don't feel like I was casting War Elephant much for the later parts, which would have meant less skulls on the board. And the main reason for that is they weren't really killing the enemies. You would need like 5 skulls to kill it out, especially with his 25% reduction. So it is still pretty time consuming going for double Tagraki cast on everything. Regardless, have to put time into one way or the other. Because after you kill out the first one, I think they all die in 4 skulls rather than 5, since they don't have the reduction. Also, hello, wow, welcome. And hello, Alfie, if I didn't already say hi. Welcome, welcome. Hey, we got a stun on it. Normally has 50% spiral reduction, but it didn't even have any traits. And if it did, actually, if it did, it was stunned, so it wouldn't even matter. Get all that going. Get our other Rowan down. And anything that we take under 5,000, except for like a few circumstances, we should be able to get down in one shot. Just have some kind of trait that ends up getting a revive there. As a player recently out of early game, what should you be focusing on? Getting Traitstones and souls or glory for keys? You should be focusing on getting 5-star all kingdoms. Well, if you haven't already, make sure to get every single kingdom in the game, including all the other world kingdoms. This will give you every banner in the game. But you now want to be focusing on, if you also already haven't, make sure to get every single kingdom to level 10, starting by getting them all to level 3 and then to level 10. But after that, you want to focus on 5 stars, 2 5-star everything. It will require 1 legend from the kingdom. This is easily just obtained by if the kingdom has a faction. Most of them do, however, several of them still do not, about a dozen of them. But if the kingdom has a faction, getting the legend off the faction is the absolute easiest way through the portal. And for the hardest parts are you need, I believe it is 7 troops with 3 traits, 8 troops to level 15, that or the other way around. I know it's 7 and 8. I forget if it was for 7 or 8 for the Traitstones or for the 15s. But you need 7 or 8 troops each to 15 and fully traded, all 3 traits. And you also need the legend from the kingdom. And this will give you a really good tribute boost, which you get at 4 stars, which is a little bit earlier than that. But you also will end up at 5-star getting the stat boost, which ends up helping a lot for getting into later into the game, just to have a bigger stat line to be able to use for everything. But yeah, it's level 10 all kingdom and 5-star all kingdom. Definitely next priorities if you don't already have either of those 2 yet. And to be able to do that, your main focus is, yes, Traitstones and a lot of Underworld. That and just keys in general. Eventually, it'll just be completely Underworld in a way, in that you can just get them all from shards and just get them easier that way. However, there are, I believe, 13 kingdoms right now that do not have a Underworld currently. And while they will in about a year from now, they don't now. And the reason I say that Underworld's a little bit easier for the legends is when you open up portals with Chaos Shards, you have a drastically higher chance of getting that Kingdom Legend compared to if you were just be opening random keys. Event keys also work similarly as well. However, only one kingdom every single week is via event keys, and the amount of time you'd have to wait for that to happen is very long, since it only changes every week. Like, for example, right now you can very easily max out Leonis Empire, because it's a Leonis Empire week, so if you have a bunch of event keys laying around, you probably very easily get that legend, as well as the smart troops, as well as Traitstones related to the kingdom. But that doesn't rotate around that often. It's only once per week, and next week is... I forget what next week already is. I think it was... I completely forgot. I can't even guess. Let me go... We'll go cheat. We'll look at it directly. Let's see, what is next week? I completely forgot off the top of my head. It is, the event week for next week, if you want to open event keys to easily get the kingdom upgraded, is Wild Plains. So you can easily get Wild Plains max next week. And then it's, Merlantis. Actually, it's a pretty decent week to go for Wild Plains event keys. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. There's not, like, absurdly good things from Wild Plains. However, one of the more noteworthy ones is, what's it called? Catch the Bull, which is the mythic there, which unfortunately would require a lot of event keys to even attempt for it, but it's a pretty good drop. It's one of the better mythics in the game, one of the better damage mythics. It's also one of the few mythics that's actually viable to have more than one of. So it's a pretty good early game damage source in the sense that if you ever accidentally get a second copy of it, you won't feel as bad because teams are actually viable with double Ketris, whereas double of many other mythics are not good. It's one of the reasons why I also say Ferris Raw is pretty good to get early. Ketris, Ferris Raw, stuff like that. Because they're actually viable if you get a second copy of them eventually. So it's not as disappointing when you inevitably finally get a second copy of a mythic. Because most mythics with a second copy do absolutely nothing. Let's see. Is the best Traitstone farming just spam low level? Or do you get rates on higher explore levels? You should pretty much just spam explore level 2 or 3. Whatever you can one-shot is the best method for just getting a lot of Traitstones. If you're needing a little bit more minor Traitstones, it's good to throw down some gold keys as well. Gold keys end up giving a lot of minor Traitstones. And also, due to the fact that Explore gives slightly higher rarity Traitstones, it'll also help make up for the fact that you're not getting as many higher rarity. So you can use all the gold that you get while you're doing Explore to go put into gold keys, and then use those gold keys to offset the slower rate of minor Traitstones. However, Explore does have a better rate of all the higher rarity Traitstones, which are normally the ones that you're trying to get after. The 3 Traitstones that you tend to always have the least of are the Arcanes, because there's so many different types, and they're the second highest rarity Traitstone. The Runics, which it depends what kind of colors you're leveling, but if you're leveling up a lot of the same kind of colors, you can kind of run out of them. And the minor Traitstones. And the minor Traitstones probably fall out the most, I would say, just because they end up being required so many for so many troops. And these go down very quick. Like, even if it seems like you have a few hundred, you go and upgrade like a dozen troops and you're already like negative into the Traitstones. Oops, I could have won for that battle. They go down pretty quick. Also, keep an eye out for Monday troops as well. Sometimes they have an arcane that you might need a lot of at a given time. And they also can farm you minor Traitstones as well. It's a way to convert glory into minor Traitstones, which normally is not possible. However, you can off the weekly pack. And there's a different color available every single week. Currently, the minor Traitstone available this week is, I have no clue, is yellow. And then next week it's probably... I have no clue. We'd have to. It could be one of its 2 colors. So next week's Traitstone is either red or brown, but it won't be yellow. So it'll be a different color than what's currently available. And you can keep an eye out on those, because if you're ever missing a lot, because some kingdoms use a lot of one certain color. For example, White Helm uses a lot of yellow. So if you were like recently upgrading White Helm to 5-star, or just maxing it out, or whatever you're doing with it, you'd probably be low on yellow. And then on like a yellow week like this week, you can stock up. But do keep an eye out for it. Because you can actually stock up with minors there. And it's the only time that you can ever really convert out glory to minor Traitstones, which from a Traitstone farming perspective is really good. You also get a really good rate of Runics. Back in the day, the absolute best method would just be always doing the glory methods. That didn't come in until about like a year and a half, 2 years into the game cycle. But ever since then, that's always been like the main way that you got Traitstones, was via the glory packs every single week. Because they give a pretty hefty amount for pretty cheap. Oh, I could have got an extra turn there. Oh, it's not needed. We already won. Yeah, in 8 days we'll have the very last raid. Our raid troop coming in. Which kind of indirectly gives a hint to what next patch will kind of be like. Because there'll be a very obvious change in relation to that. But yeah, the fact that it's in 8 days is public knowledge, though. It's under the spoiler threads. How it's changing is not yet, though. But yeah, one of the very last raid events ever will be very soon. Or not the last raid event ever, but the last new raid troop coming in. Let's see. Take that for now. And I believe Invasions has already been all the troops, if I'm not mistaken, for a while now. Which is why it has a weekend event now. And as I mentioned, we'll hand out a redeem code once we get this level. And then we'll probably go for one more level after that. And then tomorrow we'll get the last 2, and then boom. Level 100 Warpriest. Finished on the week that we have 10% bonus for it. Not like it really matters. We're casting it basically 0 times. But it is technically the week that it has some bonus. Which is why I chose to do it this week rather than one of the other weeks. Might as well do it on the week related to its kingdom. Because whenever you do it, it'll gain at least like a 10% stat. Because the bonus for the kingdom is, or the week is normally whatever the kingdom is, plus a 10% to one of the typings of a troop type. And unfortunately, it didn't synergize perfectly into the one we currently have. But sometimes your hero class can actually have 20% bonus on that week. Which, depending on the team that you're using, is helpful for leveling it. Obviously, with this team, the hero means almost nothing. Because we don't ever actually cast it. Because we win too quick to even bother casting it. Come on, where are all the weak battles at? There we go. Well, so hello, Scotty. Welcome. Why does Leonis Empire have 2 raid troops? I have no clue. Go ask Salty that if she ever streams again. When was the last time she's even done a stream? Because I know she canceled the most recent one, and she hasn't been doing the Wednesday streams. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks. Feels weird seeing Tina without 50% spell reduction, but I already know this guy doesn't have it on it. Even if he did, we've actually gotten a stun on one of the battles, though we can't really depend on that. It's a 25% chance to randomly do it to an enemy, and even then it's a random enemy. That is a very low chance to actually get it. Oh, so that's interesting. A person actually using the War Elephant outside of the event, just because they don't have as many options. This person's probably around level 100 or 200 or so. Also, oh gosh, Vinoxia plus Web Spinner with Gurgultha. Do any of you guys remember when that was meta? Particularly Vinoxia plus Web Spinner. That was actually a meta combo at one point. Well, by one point, I mean like 5 years ago. That thing is like ancient. Even all with the orange borders like that. That is like so reminiscent of when the game first started. The good old meta. Crimson Bat for the first year of the game, particularly the first half year, was the most overpowered thing in the entire game. And it was still viable until about 1.5 years in. Though ever since then, it's kind of been pretty dead content. Mostly because Web Spinner is a much better skull option ever since it got buffed like crazy at the later part of last year. And, or I should say at the early part of last year, I mean. And the other thing was just true damage kind of falling off in general. If you can't like double cast true damage, it's not worth it. Tesla is pretty much just the better version of it. Yeah, the stats are way too high to get away with either of them now. If you want to use Crimson Bat like you used to, Tesla's the closest thing. And if you want to use the skull damage like you used to be able to, the closest thing is Web Spinner. But at no point does Crimson Bat do any of them better. At least now. Ah, 12 epic ingots. I do not need those anymore, though. We have finally maxed out everything in the game, and I need a sink for them. We need a Traitstone sink, we need an ingot sink, we need a chaos shard sink. Well, maybe not so much for that one. But we need a lot of sinks. This game does not have that many sinks. It just really likes to sink gems, and it really likes to sink gold. And technically souls as well. It likes to sink those 3 resources. However, it does not sink any other resource that well. And they really need to do that. Because there's so many resources that you get like so many of that have no purpose after some point. Or after you get all the things within the game, you're just kind of accumulating them. And this is nothing you can use them for. And they have made mention in the most recent Q&A, which feels like forever at this point. It was like almost a year ago at this point. Like maybe more, like 9 months. But the last Q&A, they did mention that they do kind of want to add resource sinks to various things that don't currently have any. Just to make sure that every single resource kind of seems valuable in its own way. However, they have yet to do that. And 5.0 doesn't really address that at all. Which I was kind of surprised that it didn't. That's why I've been saying that you don't really need to go out of your way for any resource as well. Because all the resource kind of situations that are currently in the game is still the same situation for next patch. They didn't add any new sinks. Well, kind of. You'll see what I mean by that later. But technically no new sinks. To this day, your favorite troop is Humility because of Crimson Bat. Humility is still a pretty nice troop. The only real reason I feel like it doesn't get used too much these days is it takes a lot of time to start up. And most battles go too quick that Humility isn't worth it. Yes, we're currently spamming casual PvP to get class XP. We're also trying to get pets, but that's more so a byproduct. The main reason we're doing it is to get class XP. As soon as we get a class level, we're going to hand out a code. And I'm trying to get to 98 so that we can get to 100 tomorrow night. And then boom, another hero class done. And then we only have 3 left, 2 at 80 and 1 at 90. And my goal is by the end of next weekend, by the end of the Vault event, to have every class maxed. And then we never need to worry about class leveling ever again. And then I can start farming Explore 12 again. We're going to be getting back into a lot of Explore 12 farming. Then I'll be ready for any kind of thing that might be related to next patch. Let's see. And no, you do not need every hero class max before next patch. I just want to. Just so we don't have to worry about it. Justice with Zugov. All 6 of the Guardian troops that do end up creating gems like that aren't that bad when you're using it with some kind of skull spammer like that, because they actually can target on Doom Skulls. If there's at least 1 Doom Skull on the board, you can have them create Doom Skulls. Same with Skulls if you do it on Skulls. They're one of the only few gem spawners in the game that can also target Skulls. There's a really small amount, but however, all 6 of the Guardian troops, like Justice, Humility, ones like those, are allowed to hit Skulls and Doom Skulls. I have no clue. The beta is only in PC, so I have no clue anything related to any other version that is on their end. But no, the beta is always ever only on PC. There was only ever 1 beta that was not PC, and that was when they did like a really big mobile overhaul. I think when they switched over to Unity. But that was the only time they ever did a beta test for mobile. Every beta test ever since has been PC only. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure internally they test it on other consoles and stuff. I would sure hope so that they would. But as far as the actual public beta, it is ever only held on PC, except for 1 exception a while back. Oh, what was your question? We also have almost all pets. Only few missing. No, there's a lot more than few missing. All missing are in spoilers, except maybe 3 Kingdom ones. You want to look at them? But they're going to constantly keep adding pets. I highly doubt we're ever going to reach a point where they're just going to stop adding pets. It might be to a point where they're running out of assets that are already created, which they still have quite a bit of. I think they still have over a dozen or something. But there's no way they're going to ever stop adding pets. That is something I feel like will go infinitely. Even if they have literally every status effect in the game, they'll just keep doing cosmetic pets, if nothing else. And even then, I feel like they would add more effects for them. Something else to add them for. But at minimum, they would still always keep doing cosmetic ones, like for holidays and stuff like that. I highly doubt we'd ever reach a point where they just completely stop doing pets altogether. New ones. Oh, level 97! We go hand out the code then, which I do have on the forum now. Okay, I'm pretty sure we used this one yesterday. Forget if we grabbed it from here, if we used the other section. Yep, we grabbed it from here. And now I could just go in the forum rather than have to wait like a whole minute for Discord to launch on my other computer because it's so slow. But there we go. There you guys go. Use this on gemsawar.com with the game code section. Your invite code can be found underneath the settings menu. Redeem code is right over there in chat, starting with OY. That is a O, not a 0. And gives same reward as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. Your invite code is found underneath your settings menu, whatever game says in the bottom left corner right over there. Redeem code's right over there in chat. And there you guys go. It's only usable on PC mobile version of the game, of course. There you guys go. Okay, so next order of business. Let's go get level 97. And then we'll probably call it a wrap for tonight. And then tomorrow, we shall get 100. And don't forget to finish out World Lore event tomorrow, as well as Bounty Hunter, if you haven't finished out either of those two yet. They both go until the end of tomorrow, all the way at Monday reset time. So you still have a whole day left to go do both of those two events. And then we'll have a Monday event on Monday for the normal weekly resets. We're not getting too much during the week. However, the most interesting thing will probably be Vault event on the weekends. And with that Vault event, I will be grinding it out heavily. And that's a great time to try to get gem value within the game. Best time ever to be playing, since you can get a lot of resource gains. And anything with gem value tends to be pretty good. Actually, I might finally get the gem value video up before this weekend. Because Vault event would kind of be a good time to do it before. I've been meaning to cover that for a while. What do we want here? We'll grab that for now. Because I don't think there's anything in next patch that I actually need to break down the gem value for. No, Vault event starts on Friday. Weekly event resets on Monday. But no, I mean next weekend, not this weekend. Vault events always start on Friday and go until the following Monday reset. And next weekend is that time. It happens about once every month. Hello, Chad! Welcome! Sometimes the interval is a little bit longer, but normally it's about once a month for Vault event. And those 3 days that it occurs for is the best time in the game to ever farm. Not that every other time is a bad time, but the amount of loot that you get during that time is substantially higher. Especially for things like Quick Explore and Quick PvP like we're doing right now. Anything where you can quick kill very quickly tends to get even more loot during during Vault events. Almost everything does, but particularly when you're doing quick wins. Because it gives you more chances every single time to get a Gnome. Because Gnome chance is based on you just winning a battle and then going into the next battle. Or, basically just going through a battle. Whereas when you're winning really quickly, you basically just get to increase the amount of rolls that you get. And while you still get Gnomes outside of the event, like you've already seen, we've gotten a couple Gnomes already. It is substantially higher during a Vault event. Both 3 times higher chance to find them and 3 times higher chance to get a Vault key from them. So, hello, David. Welcome. What do you say about the next Mythic, which is True Damage Skull? Better than Web Spinner? Depends on the situation, but yes. The next Mythic that's coming out has potential to be the strongest Mythic in the game or among one of the top 5. Almost guarantee top 10. It is going to be very strong. It was a mechanic that was added in version 2.0 about 4 years ago that they basically had to remove from the game because it was so overpowered. But they've done enough power creep since then that they're adding it back into the game on the one single Mythic. I don't feel like it's going to be too broken in the current state of the game, but it's definitely going to be very, 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 very strong. But it's not going to be overpowered compared to what already exists. It theoretically gets less damage than Web Spinner, but has a better ability than Web Spinner in synergy with Skulls. So in that regard, it kind of will be better than Web Spinner. It depends heavily on the situation. Also depends if you're using it with a good attack gain or not. Because this next Mythic definitely gains a lot more of a benefit from having higher attack than Web Spinner does. Because Web Spinner's base attack pretty much is already killing everything. Whereas this thing might need a little bit of a boost in order to get to that point. You definitely want to make sure every skull he's doing is one-shot. If he's not doing one-shot skull, you definitely wouldn't want to do it in the battle. But if he is getting one-shot skull, then he's going to be massive damage. Since every skull you take is an instant kill. What do we grab here? We'll take that for now. Surprised that actually lived, but it's because it has 50% spell reduction. Even with very low durability, that's still enough to keep it alive, apparently. Hello, Kirsten. Welcome. How useful is the Mecha Gnome? Useless. It's a completely... all the normal gnomes that are common rarity are completely useless troops that you would never use. I don't own the Mecha Gnome, though. I still need a copy of it. It's the only thing in the entire game we're missing. If I opened all my Vault Keys, I would get it. However, I've only opened about a dozen Vault Keys or so since he has existed in the drop table. And I've not been able to roll him with those keys that we've opened so far. But we are starting to open every Vault Key that we get here forth. So next Vault event weekend, we're actually going to be opening a lot of Vault Keys. Since every Vault Key we will be opening. So, yeah, we'll get to have some fun there. So that's another thing that we can actually do simultaneously this weekend. Not only get every hero class max in the game, but I might finally have every troop in the game. Because I've theoretically not had every troop in the game for a month and... Or sorry, not a month. A year and a half or so now. Pretty much since Mecha Gnome has existed. I have not owned everything in the game. Obviously I do. It's just not the Mecha Gnome. But we'll officially have everything again probably next weekend. Because there's a really good chance we will randomly find Mecha Gnome as we farm for Vault Keys. One can hope. So far I've gotten 3 troop drops since then. A Cedric, and the Valraven, and I think a normal gnome. Yeah, it's a completely useless troop. But it's a completely useless troop I'm missing. So for that reason, it is useful. If trading existed in this game, I would trade 6 copies or 7 copies of Cedric for a single copy of Mech Gnome. That's how badly we need Mech Gnome. Well, we don't need it badly, but it's a troop I need for full completion. Hopefully we'll eventually get a point where we can very easily max out all the gnomes. It's one of the reasons I've been hoarding all my Vault Keys as well. They made mention that we might eventually get a method to obtain more than just a single copy of a gnome from Vault Keys, where essentially it'd be like a high risk, high reward, where you can do like a difficulty setting for it, because the current difficulty setting does nothing for actual loot increase. However, they did mention like a high risk, high reward thing that they might eventually add for it, and in doing so, they would also drastically increase the amount of the gnome copies that you would get from doing it, so that you could easier upgrade the gnome troops. However, that is yet to be done. Because right now, unless you waste a bunch of major blue orbs, it is pretty much impossible to max out every single Vault troop, as you would have to open somewheres in the realm of like 5,000 Vault Keys, which almost no one in the entire game I think has done, if anyone. There's probably some people that might have hit 1,000 or so. Maybe even 2,000 if they've really farmed. But I'm pretty sure it requires like 5,000 or something keys at current drop rates. Maybe even more. Because you have to get 191 copies of each to max it if you were to do it with no orbs. Though realistically, if you were to bother going that far, you'd probably go and get 91 of them, and then use a blue orb on it for the final level. But still, that would require 91 copies of every single one of those. And that would require about 2,000 or so keys, vault keys being opened for 91 copies of each. Which is obviously pretty absurd. And they were going to bring that number down by quite drastically if they ever tweaked vault keys. But they haven't made that tweak yet. Realistically, I feel like it would be closer to 500 to 1,000 after they tweaked it to be able to max them out. Possibly not even needing a blue orb for it. Do any of the money troops have any impact on doing the vault? As in getting a particular troop? You mean any of the vault troops? No. What your team is when you do a vault has no effect on what you guys drops. Difficulty has no effect, and the troops that you use on the battle has no effect. It's completely random regardless of what you do. Yeah, vault keys can take a while to farm. We farmed every single vault event for the most part. I think I've only missed like 2 last year, I think. It was really annoying because like almost every single time I had to go away last year. I think it was 3 times actually. There's 3 times I went away last year. And quite literally all 3 times was during a vault event. Which was pretty annoying. It was good from a content perspective because I didn't need to cover anything for the Friday. But it was bad from a farming perspective. Because, well, I couldn't farm during those events. But yeah, it happened 3 times last year. Let's see, it happened around 4th of July. It happened around a little bit before then. For that vault event. It happened for the one in December. And it happened for the one in October. So yeah, 3 vault events last year. I missed. Let's see if we'll throw that down. Hello, Lewis. Welcome. Though luckily, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Well, other than for hurricane evacuations, which is kind of mandatory if that happens this year. I really hope it doesn't. 2020 has enough bad things happening. We don't need a bad hurricane season as well. But yeah, so far the last 3 years we've had to evacuate for hurricane season. So who knows, maybe 2020 will be nice. It does not seem to be the theme of 2020, but who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see, we'll throw that down. Last time we had to evacuate, Deeds came out. Who knows, maybe we'll get a Traitstone sync when, for the next evacuation. Or who knows, maybe even better. Maybe we'll get a treasure hunt and arena rework. Thank you, Lewis. Greatly appreciated. Helps out a lot. I know, right, David? Yeah, 2020 is weird. Yeah, we'll go for this one. Not sure what you mean by that, Supplement. I know that was a reference to something that you were mentioning. Forget what it was a reference to. We should be at the point we need about 30, 40 more battles. And then the final levels we'll get tomorrow. I'm not sure which one we're going to do after this one. Let's see, what hero class are we getting next week? If it's Wild Plains, that means we're getting Shaman, which I already have maxed. So we don't have like a weekly one that we could go do since we already have Shaman maxed. I don't know, maybe I'll work the Abolist up so we can go do it on Explore 5. Get some better Traitstone drops since we haven't really been doing as much. We'll see. Because we can use Phoenicia with the Abolist because you have Red Storm. It's the only hero class I have left that has Red Storm attached to it. And it requires a Red Storm hero class to work. The only problem with that is it gives 1 XP rather than 2 XP. But we would get a substantially better what's it called, rate? Metal rate. Well, technically we're getting no metals from what we're doing right now. We're getting ingots and stuff, but no metals. 200 shards. Gosh, that is such a bad drop. That is the equivalent of 2 diamonds. But even worse, because you have to put 20 souls into it. Rather than just being handed 2 diamonds like with a normal gnome. Do you have any videos on troops and their synergy with other troops under the classes, etc.? I've not specifically covered that in a video. I've kind of mentioned that a little bit in like team videos. Like we've covered almost every single hero class in the game with team videos when they came out. However, I never really gone in depth as far as like what troops could work with various hero classes. Mostly because quite a few of them have none. Because there's a good majority of hero classes that you wouldn't really mention any. That or a lot of them have such a generic range of what you can use for them. Because very few hero classes would actually have different options. Because most hero classes would work with all the same exact troops. Like Titan obviously works a little bit better with Giants and Elementals. Whereas something like a Sentinel can kind of build into an Urska team. There's like a few exceptions here and there. But for the most part, they can all pretty much synergize with the same base troops. Like for example, the composition we're using right now for Quick Kill. Any hero class in the entire game can run with this. Doesn't matter what the hero class is. It would still work pretty much exactly the same. The only ones that would gain a slight benefit is anything with a green storm. Theoretically, a blue storm as well. Wait, does Slayer have red storm in it? Wait, does Slayer have red? Oh, it does. I forgot it had Fire Tree. All this time Slayers had Fire Tree? Hold up. I forgot about that. I knew it had triple damage burning, but I kind of forgot it has Fire Tree, which are literally the same tree, which means it has Firestorm. Okay, that works. So yeah, we have Diabolus and we have what's it called? But yeah, they both have Firestorm. Duh. Okay, interesting. Well, I guess we know which one we're gonna do then. Let's do the last one that doesn't have Firestorm. We'll do what's it called? We'll do Oracle. Because this one definitely does not have fire. Doesn't have blue storm either. Or actually, does it have any storm? I don't think it does. Oh no, it might have yellow storm. Yeah, it has light storm. I don't think that's used for anything though for quick kill. I don't think there's a single yellow quick kill team. At least when it comes to instant kill. Yellow has a lot of options for winning, like particularly Guild Wars and stuff. But for quick kill, it doesn't really have a composition that you would actually need more yellow for. Oh yeah, I remember that. She mentioned that a while back. That's like an old reference. She hasn't made reference of that for ages. But yeah, does anyone else have any other questions? Let me know. because we did hit level 98 a few battles ago. And then tomorrow night we'll go and preview everything that's coming next week during our stream, at the beginning of stream. And then we'll also go and finally max out this hero class. And then we only have 3 left. 2 at level 80 and 1 at 90. So by the end of this week, or, you know, by the end of next Sunday, at the end of next event week, basically, we will be at level 100 all hero classes. Meaning we will never need to hero class farm ever again. Unless they add something to hero classes eventually that will make it so we have to farm on them longer. But it hasn't happened yet. But you never know. It's bound to happen eventually. Which is why we're getting it done. I know it's not happening next patch. And there we go. We got a pet. So before we end out, let's go do the pet, I guess, because there's a copy I do need. And I'm going to be doing that anyways right now for us to end the stream, so I might as well do it literally now. Let's see, where is it? Let's go switch to, what's it called? Actually, let's go to the next one. What did we say we're going to do? We're going to do Oracle. Let's go do Oracle EXP. And equip that, because that's the next one we'll be doing for the next several days. Hey, we got a map. We definitely need those. How many maps is that now? 23,000? We are at 21,535 maps. If you break that down, what did I say? 21,335, I think. If you break that down and divide that by 60, it would take upwards of 355 hours to complete every map we currently have. That is a lot of time. If we spent 10 hours a day for an entire month, we still wouldn't have enough. Or we still wouldn't have used every map. Not to mention we'd still be gaining maps during that time as well. Yeah, basically, if I spent 1 hour a day doing treasure maps every single day for the rest of this year, or for an entire year, not even the rest of this year, but literally an entire year, we would still not get it done because the amount of maps we would accumulate by that time would exceed the amount that we just covered. So it would take over a year of doing treasure hunt for 1 hour every day for me to use every map I have. That is how many maps we currently have. Very absurd amount. Can you use 2 different medals at the same time? So this event's medal and the last one? That would be impossible because it doesn't exist. Because they transform to seasons, as other person mentions. It shouldn't be possible because you wouldn't have access to them. What's this an image of? There might just be a glitch. I can't tell what metal that is. Seems just to be a glitch of some kind. Because that shouldn't be possible. Shouldn't be possible to combine metals. Because they all get converted to seasons. So as soon as Monday hits, all the current medals that we have will, from the current event, World Lore event, will be transferred to seasons. Though if it was theoretically possible to obtain both, yes, it should stack. No, it is not possible. Hey, we got level 81 Oracle. Well, looks like we got some extra leveling in. Already starting on that Oracle grind. And then tomorrow night we'll finish out Warpriest. Could you stop being 1 mana short? That's like the 3rd time during these battles. And luckily he doesn't gain HP unless he's in last slot. That's such a bad ability. 20 HP if and only if you're in last slot. Even if that was only 20 HP, regardless of slot, that would still be an awful ability. It'd have to be at least 50, and even then it'd still be pretty bad. Can one of those 3 different metals, or can one use 3 different metals? And how effective would it be, if at all? What do you mean by 3 different metals? Just in general? Yes, you're allowed to have 3 different metals set. The 3 most effective to set would either be 20% mana start with an Orpheus for the cleanse, with either a Seasons or a Magic. So basically you would have a total effect of 20% mana start, 10% chance to cleanse every single turn, combined with either extra bonus stats, either into Magic or into 12 total stats with Seasons. If you were to set 3 different metals, that'd probably be the stronger 2 combinations, depending on which route you'd want to go for. And the most useful location that would probably be for is Guild Wars. Though it could be used in a couple other locations. And the reason I say that is you tend to only need Orpheuses during Guild Wars, and sometimes PvP. That's weird. I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to switch them out. Sometimes the clicking on them can be finicky, but it should have let you switch them out. I've never seen a glitch yet where it completely prevents it. Oh, why'd I do that? I should have just went for double key. Actually, he could kill me here. He's using gnomes. I mean, not gnomes. He's using gosh, goblins. Come on, extra turn. Oh no, we could lose here if we're not careful. Don't infinite us. Just let us win. Let us win. Stop hitting. Just take a skull already. Take a skull. There you go. Finally. Okay, we should hopefully be fine. But we actually could lose this battle if we're not careful. Or if he gets lucky enough on his ability thing. If Key dies, we lose. Oh, then again, we could get a dragon summon. We might have to win with dragon only. You got this, dragon. Oh no, we're fine. There we go. Goblins are annoying. There we go. Okay. Grab all that. 3 copies. Nice. Not enough to go get another upgrade, though. And given that the next faction is, that would actually be pretty useful to have another upgrade on it. Because next faction is Drakzoom faction. So that bonus would apply when we're using the troops with it. Not that big a deal. There we go. Anyways, any other questions, anyone? Otherwise, that's probably a wrap. And then we'll get Warpriest 100 tomorrow. Metals to use without having to switch for every single battle. 20% mana start into 2 seasons is probably the most versatile metal set you could have. But there's always some situations where you would need to switch out. But if you wanted to cover the most amount of ground, 20% mana start into 2 seasons, or 20% mana start into 1 season and 1 of the magic ones, so that you have +4 to all stats. Those are the 2 most versatile setups that work for the widest range of teams. But optimal setup can be quite a bit different for quite a few teams. And you can have 3 presets, but you'd still have to switch between the presets every single time. I normally have, well, this one's slightly different. But I normally have 20% with 2 seasons, 20% with 2 magics, and pure armor. This is for Rowain build, which is used for a lot of different farming situations. This is used for a couple different things. Sometimes you switch it to pure magic as well. But this is mostly used for when you need better casting. And if you're using something like a a Suna team. I mean, not Suna, a Phoenicia team, I mean. You normally go pure magic. And this is normally 20% into 2 seasons, though for this event, I obviously switched it out. But I might as well switch it back since we've actually finished out the event already. And this I normally has 20% for 2 seasons, which I use mostly for Guild Wars, and it's kind of a good all-around one to have. But it's normally what I have set. The only other thing that you would kind of need is 20% with 2 Medals of Orpheus on occasion. But I feel like these are the 3 I use the absolute most. Pure Magic, Pure Armor, and 20% with 2 seasons. And the other main combo would be Medal of Orpheus into double or triple, depending on what you're doing, on if you need 20% or not. But those are probably the 3 I feel like I use the most, as far as every medal setup in the game. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. We will be back, as I mentioned, tomorrow, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour prior to now tomorrow, as we do every single night. Tomorrow we will gain level 100 Warpriest, and at the beginning of the stream we'll go over all the spoilers for next week, and go from there. And then on Monday we'll cover the video, going over all of our weekly stuff, and Monday we'll have the event for, what was it again? Did you forget already? The event for Tower of Doom, so we'll be messing with Tower of Doom, and the color of it was, sorry, Jacob Lou forgot. Did I even know in the first place? Let me see. Easiest way to check would be to go to weapon. The color for next week's Tower of Doom is red. So we got red Tower of Doom next week for Wild Plains event. So you'll be able to get more red. So if you want to go get Doomed Crossbow maxed, if you haven't already, next week would be the week to do so. Actually, where is Doomed Crossbow even from? But if you already have Doomed Crossbow, you'll be able to get it maxed next week during the event. It's from Sinner Mirage. So if you've already gotten that in the past, you can definitely help get some more scrolls for it to go max it out. What was the World team again? World team, there's not that many options that we had for it. I personally ended up running with this. Running with the double Tagraki. The Corvash there, because there's a troop that keeps appearing that has 75% reduction. So you definitely want to make sure you have at least 1 stun. It also gets rid of any of them that have revive on death, which a couple of them do. Divine Ishbala is mostly just to pressure some skulls, because you get 160% extra skull damage at least from one of the medals, if not more, depending on how many medals you have. And the double Tagraki is just a one-shot everything. And you just keep spamming Tagraki for the most part. You could even technically go triple Tagraki, and if you really, really want to, you could actually go quad Tagraki. The only problem with that is, well, not too big of an issue, but you'd have to go skulls on the 75% reduction spell troop. But, yeah, like Corvash, triple Tagraki, 4 times Tagraki, or this team are probably your best bets. And it's kind of weird using Tagraki for 2 things this week, both for Bounty Hunter and this. However, he is pretty much the best option you have as far as getting this event done, mostly because he has upscale. He's the only thing within the kingdom that has upscale at a 3-to-1 based on their armor. So if you're going really deep Tagraki, the further you go, the more effective Tagraki will end up being for you. So definitely worth considering. I'm not sure if he even falls off on not being able to one-shot at any point, because he has 3-to-1 boost ratio, plus you'll have medals to be able to increase it. So with that combination of factors, you'll probably be able to one-shot almost the entire time with Tagraki for the most part. He has a really wide range, other than the 75% reduction troop, spell reduction troop. But aside from that, it should one-shot pretty much everything with its cast, regardless of how far you go. However, if he does eventually start falling off, not sure what you do at that point. You definitely need to use a bit more Divine Ishbala, Skull Spam or something. But you'd have to go pretty deep for him to eventually fall off, if he ever even does. I'm not even sure if he ever does. Especially by that point, if you would have even gone that deep, you've probably gotten enough to get 3 medals. And him with 3 medals should definitely be enough to one-shot stuff if you have a 480% extra damage on him, since you're getting 160% each. But definitely goes quite a while, that's for sure. Let's see, 40 boost with the damage times 4 medals. Let's see. Well, their armor would go a lot higher than that. It's boosted based on their armor, not on your armor. And you get the additional 480% damage. So if he's doing something like 100 damage, and you had that full amount of bonus from going so deep, you'd, even if you were doing, let's say they had, let's say, take like a late game situation. They have 800 HP and 800 armor, or let's do 900 just to make it a little bit easier. That would come out to 300. You would then times 300 by, yeah, you'd always have enough. If you had 3 medals, you would never not kill. I'm pretty sure even with 2 medals, you would never not kill. But with 3 for sure, because you'd have 400 and 80% bonus. Wait, I did the math right? Yeah, 480. What's 60 times 3? Yeah, 40. That would be, you'd have 480% bonus from 3 medals. Let's say they have 900 stats, which is nearly max. That means you'd be doing at least 300 damage, actually slightly higher than that. And then you would multiply that by your boost ratio of the 4.8. So you times that by 4.8. So you'd be doing more HP than they could even have. You'd be doing 1,440 damage to something that has 900 HP. Which means you would one-shot it, except for the 75% reduction one. Even if they had 25% reduction, you would still one-shot it. The only thing that would live is the 75% reduction one, which will always live. But everything else should always die, regardless of how many packs you got. There might be like a really small situation in between. If you got an amount of packs where you only have 2 full medals, where you can go deep enough where it might not one-shot. But if you went deep enough to have 3 medals, there would never be a single point where you would never not one-shot. And I'm pretty sure the entire time you would just never not one-shot. I don't know because I didn't go that deep. But if anyone has, they'd probably know. But I'm pretty sure it never stops one-shotting. With the exception of the 75% reduction one, of course. Hello, Drock Savage! Glad to say hi. And I can say bye. Because we're about to head out. But glad you could join us for a moment. Any other questions, anyone? Let me know. 2 medals is almost 4 times damage. It's, how much damage is that? It's 320% damage. So you'd be dealing, 3.2 times damage. Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot, duh. 3.2 times damage actually is 4.2 times damage. You're right. Yeah, so you'd never not, you wouldn't, basically the bottom line is, you would never not one-shot with Tagraki, with the only exception on the 75% reduction one. But yeah, I forgot, because whenever it says 3.2, it actually means 4.2. Or, you know, whatever the percent is technically 100% higher, because you have a base damage of 100%. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. That is correct. So yeah, if you're over 300%, you're actually already at 4 times. So you would never not one-shot. You're correct. So hello, Liz! Welcome! Welcome, welcome, everyone. And goodbye as well. Anything else anyone want to mention, let me know. Otherwise, we're calling it a night. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. And yeah, tomorrow night we'll go and get Warpriest level 100. Only 2 levels away. And we also got this flash offer. It's not a good one, though. You can pretty much just ignore it. The one next weekend will be much better if you do spend money on the game, because it's vault keys. You'll be able to get vault keys next week for a really good value. I think it's $2 for 1 vault key and 90 gems or something. It's pretty good value. Sometimes it's even more enticing, but even when it's not, it's one of the better flash offers. So probably worth skipping this and just waiting till next weekend. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping by, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. Goodbye, everyone.